Back from Daytona, Bike Week 2026. It was fun, it was real, but it wasn't real fun. But I digress. It's a rainy Sunday morning, and guess what I've got today? I've got this really awesome Road Glide here, and we're going to do a full 10K service on it, and we're going to put one of the Müller reduced effort clutches, or clutch puller, clutch arm, in this one today. As you can see, it's got a heavy duty locker clutch on it. This bike features a lot of really nice parts: carbon fiber, updated brakes, really nice fork stems, HPI 2-in-1, big throttle body, Rockford Fosgate, carbon fiber rear fender, really nice wheels and tires. So some sticky tires on it, really nice setup. We've got the nice Kraus T-bars, some Kraus products on it. Really nice bike. So we're going to change the oil, all the fluids, all 4 spark plugs, all that kind of good stuff. He's got a really nice breather setup here. He's venting everything out and away with these hoses here, which is acceptable, of course. We've had a video on that, a big discussion on that. But this one's vented a different way, so that's fine. All right, well, we'll get started on this one, changing the oil, and then we'll get into this clutch deal here in just a few minutes too. Hang in there. All right, this one's really no different than any other one. So we're going to go ahead and move this lift back a little bit so we can get the primary. I like to support these bikes for the second lift so that we don't have any tragedies. I'm not lifting it with it, I'm just supporting it. I don't want any tragedies happening, as in bikes falling off the lift. It's not, that don't make your day when that happens at all. I'm going to go ahead and train the primary. I always like to see what's on these plugs. That one's pretty clean. There's a little bit of stuff on it, but that's just normal. It's no big deal. No big deal at all. This magnetic plug sure helps out. So just wipe it clean and move on. Don't worry about it. If you see chunks and shavings, like when I say shavings, I'm talking about like physical pieces of metal, you got a problem. All right, we'll go ahead and put the drain plug back in. All right, we'll go ahead and do the same thing for the engine oil. I said engine oil, meant transmission oil. Go ahead and look at it now. See what we got here on the magnet. There's a little bit of stuff. But again, I'd put that in the normal category. There's really nothing there to be concerned with. No chunks or anything like that. So it's normal. See enough of these every day to kind of know. So, but it just wipes right off. You always want to get that off. It just wipes right off. Just always want to get that stuff off there. And let it drain out, and we'll put this back in, and we'll drain the engine oil. All right, and we'll go ahead and tighten that one down. The drain plug for the transmission, tighten that one down. All right, that's 2 of 3. Primary and transmission. All right, now we'll drain the engine oil. All right, we'll go ahead and drain the engine oil now. Trying not to make a mess. All right, we'll go ahead and tighten back down the oil drain plug. And then we'll go ahead and fill all the fluids to the recommended values. All right, we've got this really nice Barnett clutch clear cover here. We're going to go ahead and pull the 5 screws. He's got these really nice magnetic covers for the top 3 screws. So we've already pulled those off, and we're going to go ahead here and take these 5 screws off. I'm going to leave that top one on, do the other ones, and then might get lucky and be able to swing it around, but probably won't. A lot of people like to use the power tools, power drills and stuff like that. I don't know if it's just my age, or I like to feel the tension I'm putting on screws. I don't know, but I just prefer using hand tools. I know the other way is quicker, but you don't really get to feel the pressures that it takes to get a bolt off or get one on, or when you get into the point where the bolt's going to break. Even with hand tools, you can get to the point where they want to break. Right, let me get a small screwdriver here and pry that off. I don't want it to fall off, so let me put a screw back in it for a second. The gasket's got it stuck on there, which is good. There it goes. Just a little help, just a little help, just a little help, little help, little help, little help. All right. Handy dandy funnel here. It holds a quart. So just put a quart in it. You know, we all talk about how we always have room to learn. Well, that rule includes me too. I like learning. I like knowing things that I don't know. Quick story. When I was down in Daytona this past week, which would be spring of 2026, I've been playing with my shattered bike for a couple years, and I've never been able to get it tuned just the way I want. It's always wanted to cough a little bit through the carburetor, which tells me it's a lean condition or fuel flow issue. So I know the S&S truck was at destination Daytona, so one morning I went over there. I think it was last Tuesday morning or Monday afternoon, one or the other. Pulled up to the S&S truck, asked one of those nice guys, I said, hey, is there somebody here that can go down in a deep rabbit hole about an S&S carburetor, Super E? Oh yeah, you want to talk to Scotty? Scotty, okay. He looks like Santa Claus, so he'll be back in just a few minutes. Oh, okay. So I waited around for about 5 minutes. He was over there getting some parts out of the dealership for some project they were working on, or somebody's bike or something. But he came back, and the gentleman said, "Hey, Scotty, this guy here wants to talk to you about a Super E." He said, "What you want to know, man?" "I'm Scotty." I said, "Hey, I'm Steve." So I began to tell him what was going on, and I forget the technical word he used that had something to do with vent. I don't remember. I could look it up and tell you, but I don't remember what the word was he said. But he goes, "So what jetting do you have in it?" I told him, "I got a 72 and a 295. He goes, "What, quote, vent jet, unquote, do you have?" I went and I looked at him like I was looking at a deer in headlights. I don't know what you're talking about. So he went over and got a pamphlet that showed the underside of the carburetor. He goes, this jet right here." I said, "Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing." He goes, "Oh yeah, that allows the ventilation into the float bowl. It controls the amount of air that goes in and out. So when it goes and switches from the idle jet or slow jet, it switches over to the main jet. It pretty much kind of controls that." He goes, "What you're experiencing right now is you don't have enough venting. And so what's happening is you get to 2,000 RPMs, the airflow is cutting off. There's not enough airflow there for the transition between the slow jet and the main jet. It's basically running out of fuel at that particular RPM, spot on RPM, which was 2,000, and it did it every time at 2,000. I said, "Really?" He goes, "Yes, they come with a 40. You need a 60. "Oh, well, okay. Well, do you all have the jets here?" "Yeah, man." So he went and literally dug through his stuff, his personal stuff, he said, and gave me a number 60. He also said, "You might want to think about the possibility of changing your slow jet or your idle jet to a number 31. You may not have to, but you might have to. I don't know if you will or not, but you might. So here's the 31. He said, "But just do the quote vent jet unquote first. If that fixes it, then you're good to go. If it don't, well, you got to go back in there and change it. I don't want you to change them both right now because we may not have to. I wouldn't want you to go too big on the idle jet or slow jet." I said, "Okay, man, thank you so much, Scotty." So I went back to my campsite and took the float bowl off. There it is. There's that jet right there. So I pulled it out, put the number 60 in it, and went and rode it. 10 times better. But there was still a smidgy little bit of a cough, like 1 out of 10 compared to 10 out of 10. So I thought, well, you know what? He's probably right. I need to go ahead and change that slow jet to a 31. So I went back and changed it, and it's 100% now. Maybe one time out of 100 times, which is pretty much no times, it'll cough, but it's not even a complaint. It's not even something to even worry about. It's not enough to even matter. All of them, hell, the fuel injected bikes will do it that many times. So anyway, just a quick story about learning. And I certainly learned something from Scotty, and he taught me something very valuable. And I will never forget it. And I want to let him know, if he watches this video, probably won't, but I want to let him know how much I appreciate him taking the time and helping me. All right, let's go ahead and put a quart of transmission in here. So there was another little story I can tell you. It was kind of enlightening. I was at the Thundermax show they called Pick at the Hat on Tuesday. It started at 5 and it lasted till about 7:30, 8 o'clock. Really nice afternoon type show. No hot sun. In the parking lot type thing. Really cool. Really high-end type bikes showed up. Performance type stuff. And I was sitting on one of the benches there. The dealership provided some really nice cushioned benches and places to sit down and take a break. So I was sitting down, taking a break, playing with my camera, getting everything set up to do some videoing, looking around in awe at the bikes that are rolling in. And out of the corner of my eye, I noticed a gentleman in a yellow shirt just kind of standing there, sort of kind of looking, but not really looking, as if he was wondering if someone was sitting there. There was nobody on the bench but me. It was enough room for 3 or 4 people. And I just kind of said, "Hey man, go ahead and sit down if you want to." He said, "All right." So he sat down, and I forget how the conversation started, but he said something nice or whatever, and I said something nice back. I didn't know who the gentleman was, but I was kind of not paying attention. I was kind of paying attention to something on my camera. And at that particular time, I kind of glanced out of the corner of my eye and I went, "Man, is that Kim Sutter? Wow, I wonder if that's Kim Sutter." So I looked over at him, and inside my head I went, "Holy mackerel, you're sitting next to Kim Sutter." And you guys remember him. He was on the Biker Build-Off. He was his Build-Off competitor was Gypsy, with that bike called Bitch Slap that Barry Wardlaw helped her out with, built the motor and stuff. And I think she won, or I don't remember, but it was one of the Biker Build-Off episodes 20 years ago. And so the conversation kind of went on, small talk, this and that. And he goes, "My name's Kim Sutter." I said, "Oh, hey Kim, how are you?" "I'm Steve Carr." And he goes, "Oh, you're on my Facebook. I know you." I went, "Oh, how about that?" "Well, yeah, good to meet you, man. Good to meet you." So we began to talk, and I guess we sat there for 20 minutes or so and just going back and forth about interesting things. And he was telling me about getting his Biker Build-Off bike back. He told me that, the story behind that. And I asked him a few questions about it. And I mentioned to him that I had gotten a couple of mine back. And I asked him, "Hey man, did you ever look at your stuff and wonder, why the heck did I do it that way?" And he started laughing. He goes, "Oh yeah, yeah." And so we laughed about that. And a couple minutes later, someone came over and said, "Hey Kim, come over here." He's a really popular guy. So he says, "Well, it's nice to meet you." And he got up and walked away. So that was my celebrity meeting. He was a really nice guy, genuinely nice guy. So that's the transmission fluid. I want to check the level on it. Make sure it's up to par. So we'll screw it in there and check it and see. I don't usually do these rambling on kind of videos, but I am today. All right. So we are good to go there. All right, let's go ahead and put the engine oil in. It's 4.5 quarts. Usually go about 4. I like to leave them a little bit under to help with some of the blow by on these things. Half quart's not going to hurt or benefit anything other than what I just described. So that's where I'm at with that. All right, we're going to go ahead and change the oil filter now. If we can get it to spin off. They sure like to tighten themselves over time. I've had these filters to where I've literally had to, I don't know what I've had to do, but I've had to daggum who knows what to get them out. I know that if anybody's done this enough, you know what I'm talking about. Some of the techniques are pretty brutal. If they're stuck on there, they're stuck on there. The only way you can get them off is to be mean. Always check. Sometimes these O-rings will stick to the surface back there, and you wind up with 2 O-rings, and that ain't a good situation either. Because these come out really easy, and if they're stuck on there, you don't, unless you're paying attention, you wouldn't know it. Tech tip for the day. And also, these things make such a mess. We try to clean as much as possible in there with the oil that comes out, but it gets all over everything. There ain't much you can do. Just let it drip and drain is about all you can do. A lot of customers will say, my bike's leaking. My bike's leaking, man. It's not. It's just residual oil that pretty tough to. All right, so this is a brand new filter here. You'll notice it's got the O-ring, and we know we've taken the other O-ring off. So I'll put just a little bit of oil on it. Help it with go in on there nicely. All right, I use a strap wrench on these without the nut. I will show you. Put the strap wrench right over the filter, like that. And it will turn it, just like that. You don't want to over tighten it, but you do want to get it tight. Something about like that will be fine. All right. Yeah, I've never seen one that's called a strap wrench. The original strap broke on it, and I just used a part of a tie-down strap, safety wired it here on the end so it wouldn't come apart, and it's still adjustable. But this one ain't gonna break, I promise you that. I've been using this for years and years and years. That'll help get them off too. It'll get so tight on there, it'll actually compress the oil filter down, but you can get one off with that. It's called a strap wrench, if you didn't know what that was. All right, let's go ahead and start this bike up now and recheck our fluid levels. Make sure it's in neutral. I know it is, but let's make sure. Light says it is. Okay, let's fire it up. All right, let's check the oil level with the dipstick screwed in. And we're going to be looking for the measurement on the upright scale. There's a side stand scale and an upright scale on the dipstick. So I'll see if I can show you where I run these bikes, because we got to allow for oil expansion. All right. Now, I don't know if you can see that or not, but this bottom scale here is upright. Or excuse me, this scale here is upright. That's on the side stand. So I've got the oil level right about there. It's about 4 quarts. Now, when it's hot, it's going to come on up a little bit right here, move up a little bit, but this should help with the airspace in the oil tank, or the oil pan. Need plenty of airspace for expansion. We don't know where these Harley engineers are right now with the capacities and that. They told us 4 quarts from 17 to whatever year, and then they told us 4.5 quarts. We don't know if they changed the capacity of the oil pan or not. So that's where I run them. I run 4 quarts, and that's plenty. We just don't want to make we just want to make sure we've got plenty of airspace in the oil pan, especially on these high performance engines. So we're good to go on the oil capacity level. All right, now we get to change the 4 spark plugs. This got some nice 12-point hardware on here. So we'll go ahead and pull the seat. All right. Then we'll go ahead and pull the 4 bolts that holds the tank. Pretty sure they're a 1/2 inch. Sure enough. Like I said earlier, I'm kind of old school when it comes to this hardware stuff. I like to do it by hand, so that way I know if there's any thread issues. You never know what you're going to run into, man. This is a newer bike, so probably not, but still, I like to know what I'm dealing with. And because I don't do piecework here. I don't get paid by piecework. I get paid for doing the job. I'm not trying to break any records at all. I don't get bragging rights with the other techs in the room about how quickly I did something. So it makes no difference. So now this front one right here was loose. I don't want to say loose like falling out, but it wasn't tight like won't fall out either. So if I had stuck a speed gun on it or a drill, I wouldn't have known that. Right there's a perfect example. Perfect example. Let's check this one. See, that one was kind of tight. It wasn't what I would call correct, but to each his own. Disconnect the fuel line, disconnect the power, and hopefully it's not a full tank. I hope not. Tell you what, I'm just going to move this tank back here. Let me get a blanket. Okay, now we can get to all 4 spark plugs. We'll do these 2 easy ones first. That one wasn't even snapped on. That one is. All right. We like to use the NGK plugs. Never had any issues with them, and they work. That's what's in here anyway, is NGK. Might be a little rich, maybe a little bit, maybe a little. Maybe a little. It's a little dark, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and put new plugs in it. Now I like to put a little bit of dielectric grease in these spark plug caps. Not everybody does it, but I like to. Helps keep everything loose and easy to take off and easy to put on. It helps with water, moisture, all that kind of stuff. So I just put a little bit on there like that. And it snaps right on. It'll keep it good to go. All right, now let's go to the other side. Okay, these are a little bit difficult to get out. You don't ever want to pull on that wire right there. You just don't. So you want to get yourself a good set of plug pullers like that, and it'll come right out. Let's try this one. Plug cap pullers, I should say, not plug pullers. Come on, people. All right, that one came right out too. I did have a magnetic socket, but I don't know what happened to it. There we go. That's about right. I guess they're okay. It just, I like to see them a little bit more chocolate brown, but it's all right. It's fine. All right, instead of dropping these plugs down in the hole and hoping that they'll land right, I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this little clip deal here to put the plug down and get it started, just so I don't have to drop it down in there. All right, then we can take our socket, and I'm doing this by hand because I don't want to hit it with a powerful drill type tool. So I don't want to strip any threads because one of them happened to get cross-threaded. It's just not necessary. The 10 seconds that you think you might be saving, you ain't saving it at all, especially if you strip out some threads. All right, and we're going to go back in again with some dielectric grease. Just a little bit. There we go. And we'll put the tank back on and move on to our next project, which is the clutch easy pull from Müller. All right, we're going to be installing, at the customer's request, the Power Clutch 2.0. Supposed to give a little bit less effort to pull the clutch in. He's got a high power clutch in this thing. And so we're going to put one of these in for him. Again, he brought it to us to put in. It's not that big of a deal. I've done them before. Basically, we're just replacing this ramp. It's designed a little different than a stock one. And it's got different ground ramp rates. Still has 3 ball bearings in there. And then we'll put this adjuster in the cable so it makes it a little better. All right, be right back. All right, as you can see, I've got the exhaust supported because it has a Thundermax on it. And the wires to access unplugging them are running underneath the tank for the front, so I'm not taking the tank back off. So the reason I've got the exhaust supported like this is for that reason. I don't want to unscrew the front O2 sensor and twist the wires. So I've just got the exhaust supported here, and I'm going to go ahead and pull the outer cover for the clutch here and let it drain. I've got a little piece of cardboard there to help it drain into the container. And I'll show you what we're dealing with here. All right, that's the clutch ramp, the factory one. There's a circlip in here. I'm gonna get that off and this whole thing will come out. There's a top and a bottom with 3 bearings in there, and that will come apart real easy, and we'll put it back in there. Plenty of slack here, so we should be okay. All right, I'll just reach in here with these pliers. All right, so the clip is out, and we're gonna pull this ramp out just like that. Okay. There's the cable keeper. Here's the 3 bearings right here. And the bottom part right there. There we go. That's the factory stuff. Now we will get the Müller version and see if we can get it put back together without losing the bearings. All right, now let's put the clip back in. You want to get your circlip turned around so that both of the tabs are in the groove. You don't want to leave one out of the groove. Something like that right there. See the 2 tabs? All right, so that part is basically done. I'll go ahead and bolt it back together. Then the next part will be the clutch cable. All right, this is not going to be easy for people to see, for you guys to see. Pretty much, you got to cut the black plastic piece off of this whole Harley-Davidson mechanism here, and then separate the cable. And then this piece here goes on like that, and then just kind of lock it in place, you know, turn. Remember the old dirt bike days when you had a Honda 50 and you lined up the little thing on it's the same situation. So then this only goes on one way. They only allow it to go on one way. It won't go on backwards. If you turn it around the other way, it won't fit. So it only goes on one way. And let's pop this support off here, this little spring support. Get that out of the way just for a minute. And then this will go on here. This will slide back down in there like that, and then you catch your other half of the cable. It's really difficult to see what's going on with the camera, so I'm gonna go ahead and hook it up, and then I'll show you how to adjust it. Okay, on this side, it's one of the steps I didn't mention, but you got to pull the derby cover off and loosen up the adjuster in here. I'm gonna just touch it, back it off a quarter, and tighten this down like that. All right, you can see that there's a little bit of play in the cable. It's gonna be just like adjusting a regular. Look at that, I'm moving that with my thumb, how easy that is. All right, so we're gonna come over here and adjust the cable just like you would on a regular old clutch cable. Okay. It turns these cables into just regular old cables. So we're going to spin that out just like that. Check our play. All right, I think that's where we want it. All right, and then you just lock down the adjusters here. that one there. Lock that one down on top of that one, just like that. And that's it, man. I'm gonna go ahead and grab a couple of wrenches, tighten those two against each other, put the sleeve back over it, and we'll call that a done deal. All right, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna pick up all our tools and put them away. Sure makes it a lot better once everything has its place. Yep. You can remember where everything goes. That one goes there. That one goes there. Metric goes here. And we got our Allens here. I still got to put the foot peg back on. So I'll be dragging these out here again in just a minute. A place for everything and everything in its place. What's that old saying? Sometimes you empty out the toolbox to do the simplest things. That's pretty much what happened on this one. Simplest thing ain't the simplest thing sometimes, but that's all right. That's what we get paid to do. Be sure and replenish the transmission fluid. So it held almost a whole quart of transmission fluid. Just be careful with that. Don't forget to put the fluid back in it. And that's gonna just about do it on this one today, folks. I appreciate you hanging in there and watching. Hopefully it wasn't too boring. This is I believe it's a 20. Let me look at the date code on it here. This is a 23 model. So lots of cool parts on it. I think it's even got the Krause triple trees on it. Lots of cool parts. Shifter arm, all kind of stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna get it out and test ride it, make sure everything's okay. I'm sure it will be, but you always want to test ride one before you send her home. All right, there you have it. So, as usual, I really appreciate you watching. If you like what I do, hit the subscribe button. If you don't, thanks for watching anyway, because I know you got this far in the video. I'm always here at the shop, usually. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to email me or call on the phone. If you're within 100 miles, come on by one day. You know, if you have something you want done, come on by and see the shop, talk to us. We're just regular dudes. So, I'm Steve Carr, and I'll talk to you later.